Hey guys, it's Melanie Hinds, your fastest Iraqi dinar somewhere on the net. I hope your weekend is going great. I hope you're not too upset about the time change. Okay, so the articles I discussed this morning on my live stream are Washington is set to clear Nexperia's China plant and restart it. And so the article was, the White House will allow Dutch chip maker Nexperia's facility in China to resume exports, easing pressure on global automotive supply chains, a source told Reuters on Saturday. Nexperia is based in the Netherlands, manufactures key semiconductors for vehicles and consumer electronics. About 70% of its chips are packaged and tested in China, where exports were halted earlier this year, disrupting supply to automakers, including Honda, Nissan, and Stellantis. I've never heard of them. So it just says the U.S. decision follows a trade understanding between President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi. So, they are making deals. And then the next article was the next gen design. Canva drops a new AI-powered creative suite. It says Australian designer platform Canva launched a new foundational AI design model capable of understanding design layers and formats. And it's, according to TechCrunch, the company's new model produces designs with editable layers and objects rather than flat images. So people want the ability to start with the prompt and get far, but also be available to iterate directly themselves. Guys, there's a lot going on with the AI and stuff. Then Browser's crude ends mixed after modest weekly moves. And they were talking about all the different plans to, it's saying Basra heavy rose to 64.68 a barrel. And then Basra medium also gained to 66.53 a barrel. So that's all based on, the global, people are, targeting each other, I think. Iraq is fourth in Turkish exports for September. Now, they didn't talk about October. We're already in November, and it is election season since October 11th till November 11th, so things are a little murky. Articles are just here and there. They're talking about the gold prices are up, and the dollar goes up in the morning. The dollar to Iraqi dinar exchange goes up in the morning and then down at night. I don't see any other articles on here that are of interest. I guess gold prices are steady, dollar prices fall. That is just the end of the day. And then the EIA said there was a decline in Iraqi oil exports to the U.S. Just for the month of, today, it said the average U.S. crude oil imports from 10 key countries reached 4.7 million barrels per day last week, a decrease of 508,000 barrels from the previous week's average. So they're just saying they're down. In Iraq's oil exports to the U.S. averaged 92,000 barrels per day last week, which said before the previous week's average was 55,000 barrels per day. So they're down 163,000 barrels per day. Now that could be because I've been hearing that Trump is going to start drilling in Alaska. So I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below. What are you guys having for dinner? I think my husband and I are going to order out. And then we go to summary of everybody else. You got Militiaman. He said Iraq is talking final implementation. There is no more planning. There's no more trials. It's on. It's ready to go. When he says within 5 years or sooner, that means any time now. And guys, our military sources got cut off on September 2nd. And, so we haven't heard from them. But he says it's ready to go, Militiaman says. And when he says within 5 years or sooner, that means any time now. I think it's their call now. We'll show you anytime we choose. And Militiaman continued and said, what I get from it is it's not the U.S. Treasury's hands anymore. It's not in the Bank of International Settlements' hands anymore. It's not in the IMF's hands anymore. Why? Because they probably gave them grace to do it. Now it's their choice. You're ready. You've proven you're ready. When it's best for you, show it. Effectively, it's Iraq's call now. That's according to Militiaman's post. Claire says article central banking sector reform in Iraq has entered advanced stages. The central bank is now working intensively on two plans. The first to reform the government banking sector and to second reform the private banks in cooperation with an international company. Now that's really late news. according to Claire, because our intel sources said the banks are ready. They were waiting on the banks in the U.S. to catch up because the banking system in Iraq is fully loaded. They were audited for a couple years. So I think they're ready to go. And we know the retired colonel who sent me that article about the 4X, they've already loaded the Iraqi dinar rate at 481.01. So we're praying it soon. So so some of these articles are saying they still have work to do, but by the time an article comes out of Iraq, according to my intel sources, that means they're already done. By the time they put out an article, it means they're already done. So some people are taking these articles at face value when I think they're just trying to cloud the timing, like when they passed the 3-year budget so you wouldn't know. Well, that budget's almost done, because there's a new 2026 is right around the corner. So I think now is the time. Then Frank 26 said, Omar, the certificate of the Central Bank of Iraq they just received is an international iOS 301 certificate. This certificate is recognition that the CBI has met all the international banking standard. It's a big nod towards their effort at aligning with best global practices, and it should boost international confidence in the banking sector. And he goes, this tells the whole banking world, financial community, especially in the Middle East, now that you can trust Iraqi banks. Guys, we've been seeing this, though, for 2 years, because I've been studying between 17 to 31 articles every day from our intel sources before September, when they started moving everybody around. They wouldn't be moving everybody around if it wasn't done. Also, we looked at World Bank reports, IMF reports, and everybody saying the bank is the most state-of-the-art in the world, but they haven't been saying that for like a year because it's already done. But everybody else is picking up these little details because they weren't doing all the details that we have done over the years. Comment down below if you agree. And then Mark Z said, this is dated today, Iraq is continuing to check off things on a checklist. It is an overwhelming, all the news coming out of Iraq. And then Bruce chimes in, redemption centers is where the real money is and where the real rates are compared to the bank. He says are low rates, and he said he knows what they are, and you're going to come out so much better at the redemption center. It's not even funny. And that, of course, is his perspective. He's entitled to have that perspective, but you gotta ask yourself, why? Look at my pinned comment down below. I get back to you within 24 to 48 hours, 3 steps to a safe exchange. And then you got Mountain Goat. There is not a lot of meaningful news to report on the removing of the zeros. Everything seems to be waiting mostly to see the outcome of the elections. Who will be the next prime minister, his key cabinet member, speaker, and president? And then, let's see. And then Frank was saying he never believed in the GCR, which is a global currency reset. And so he said, but I may next year, and he says it's Trump's fault. It's like, okay, I give up. Don't twist my arm. Trump, what you're doing is miraculous. This is Frank's opinion. I've never been a proponent of the global currency reset, but I will admit what's happening geopolitically around the world is causing this to happen. All the rumors, conversations originate from a source of truth. So he's changing his mind about the GCR, which stands for Global Currency Reset. But when you have my perspective, used to be an auditor with Price Waterhouse, the whole underlying banking system is changing. That's why there's 52 million Americans that were in crypto, probably more now, understand they are purchasing aspects of the blockchain system that are the rails of the new banking system. The whole ISO 20022 that you've been hearing about is the messenger system for the banking system on the blockchain. Then we were following the Iraqi dinar coin, that is the stable coin that is adopted by the Central Bank of Iraq, or so we think. You know, they don't come out and tell their citizens that they have a brand new digital banking system because the citizens are just looking for increased purchasing power. They're not, just like a lot of Americans aren't aware of the blockchain. They're not aware of cryptocurrencies. With the new banks coming around and investing in all those cryptos, and you know, with Trump and the Senate and the House of Reps all being pro-crypto, we're starting to see mass adoption, but we're not there yet. Most of the citizens, if you talk to them, they don't know anything about cryptocurrency. Same thing with Iraqi citizens. They don't know anything about this new digital banking system. They just know that they could take their currency into the bank and they get more money for it. So guys, that's where we're at right now. Not a lot of people know what's going on with the overall banking system. So I suggest you subscribe, tap the bell here. Let's see, what else? I was trying to think. One guy was saying Iraqi bonds. There are no Iraqi bonds being sold outside of Iraq. Iraq did release bonds last year, but it was only for people that wanted to invest in them. It's like U.S. Treasury bonds. I could invest in U.S. Treasury bonds if I want. I don't, but I could. I don't know, guys. I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors right now because of the election coming up. And then they talked about the lower notes. I think it's all going to happen at the same time. What do you think? I think they're going to change the exchange rate, and then the lower denoms will be released because they have to be. Because once they have a new exchange rate, right now it's a nominal rate on the street in Iraq, 0.00076 when it comes to conversion to the USD. But eventually it's going to be 481. And that the only thing that makes sense is when you look at other neighboring countries that are right next door to Iraq, that are smaller and don't have as much going on, and theirs are 325. I'm specifically referring to Kuwait. So it just makes sense to me. It's going to be that rate that was given to me by the colonel because he's a Forex trader and he got it, which is 481. So what do you think? Comment down below. And then Mark Z did say, "Make Iraq great again," Trump's new slogan for Iraq. This is the hitting news and becoming popular in Iraq. One of the ways they would achieve this is a new rate. So Trump is involved in this because it's a coordinated political timing, according to that article that I've showed you many times from the Forex, saying it's preloaded already. It's just suppressed right now until the perfect coordinated political timing. And if you don't know that they all are on the same page, all the countries are under the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund. I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow for my Zoom members that are qualified. Mastermind group members only tomorrow. The link is up, and I'll see you guys in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time for my traditional daily live stream. And then I'll have to stop around 10:30 and open up the Zoom for the Mastermind group members. We'll do a Q&A. We'll do everything you want, and I'll see you then. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.